Okay, so today is Tuesday, December 3rd, 2024. It's a bit after 4 o'clock in the afternoon, so markets have been closed for about 15 minutes or so now. Let's pull something up on the screen if we can. So, okay, hey, in first place today, Bitdeer, not bad, up almost 7%. They were up a bit more earlier, actually. Canaan has practically doubled, I think, in the past couple of months or so. They were up today almost 3%, and rounding out the top three is Iris Energy. They were up just about 2.5%. Now, what about Bitfarms? So, Bitfarms is apparently down below $2 a share yet again. So, it's frustrating. I get it. But, I think we're going to be in a bit of a, wait and hold pattern here for a bit. I've read some of the comments. They're actually quite fascinating. Some of the perspectives with regard to like what has to happen next before the stock can really, kind of take off. That is Bitfarms I'm referring to. But, I'll tell you, all in all, the Bitcoin mining ecosystem was generally down today. And, you say to yourself, okay, well, sure, Bitcoin itself is down. But what's going on here? Because, MicroStrategy evidently has already spent roughly maybe 25-ish% of the approximately $42 billion that they're planning to spend, I guess at a bare minimum, right, over the next 3 years to acquire more Bitcoin. They've already spent that. And so you say to yourself, all right, so there's all this buying taking place by MicroStrategy. Certainly a lot of other entities are buying, but who's selling? And that's kind of a thought-provoking question, right? With Bitcoin hovering near $100,000 a coin, who is really the seller? Now, with regard to hash prices, which is really ultimately the core metric that matters the most for Bitcoin miners such as Bitfarms and others, I saw hash prices hovering around $60 a petahash today. That is not incredibly inspiring, but of course it is, a lot better than what it had been not too long ago. I will say this, going into the month of December, I do think there's going to be a degree of selling pressure that not just perhaps Bitfarms, but really, I would say even more so like Bitcoin might be facing, simply from the perspective that you may have people sitting on some pretty interesting gains in Bitcoin. They could conceivably want to take those gains for tax reasons. Maybe they want to offset some other losses, right? Things like that. There tends to be a bit of reshuffling in the month of December, especially as we get towards the end of the month. So I'm conscious of that as it relates to not just Bitcoin mining companies such as Bitfarms, but really I think the market as a whole. I don't know, man. There's just something that kind of feels weird. I know we got to take a bit of a break, right? Bitcoin can't just go like straight up into infinity overnight. I get that. And yes, it is true that Bitcoin, I think, is up like 40% since the beginning of November. So that's a staggering leap forward. I get that, you got to kind of consolidate a bit, take a bit of a break. I don't know. I'm just kind of wondering what you think. Do you perceive that we will in fact hit brand new highs in the price of Bitcoin in 2025? Or is it conceivable that we're seeing a replay of 2017, which you may not have been around or interested in Bitcoin at the time, but way back then, Bitcoin did peak out at roughly $20-ish thousand a coin. And then for the majority of 2018, Bitcoin was kind of in retreat. At one point, if I'm not mistaken, hitting a low of $3,000, roughly $500 a coin, right? So, I'm wondering, hey, are we looking at a situation where Bitcoin potentially has topped out for this cycle? I mean, I certainly hope not, right? That would kind of be anticlimactic and kind of a bummer, right? When everybody's so geared up and excited about Bitcoin hitting, brand new highs next year. But I'm just kind of wondering if I'm being a little bit too sober-minded about this, maybe a little bit too kind of thinking, looking in the rearview mirror, thinking of 2017, wondering, hey, is this it? Are we topping out? That's it. Now in 2025, it's going to be more of a stale year of sorts. Or do you perceive that, there are going to be other catalysts that come into play and we're going to really see Bitcoin, surge significantly further ahead, possibly reaching as high as 150,000 a coin, maybe even 200,000 a coin or more. So kind of wondering what you think about that. And I will be catching up on comments. I'm a little bit behind because I've been working on some dashboard related things. But yeah, I hope things are well. I hope the weather is reasonably decent wherever you happen to be. I know that in some parts of the United States, there has been a tremendous amount of snow. So hopefully you're not being affected too much by that, and that the weather is reasonably nice wherever you happen to be. Okay, my friend, we will see each other again tomorrow.